Hi everybody. I'm not sure if this is gonna work. I am not on Wi-Fi. Where am I? I'm in Mansfield, Connecticut, about to have a cranial sacral therapy appointment. And I wanted to jump on live because I'm the whole way here. This is like an hour and a half drive from my house. But the whole way here, I was thinking about spirituality and the big difference it's made in my business and the big impact it's had on my own personal life. And I wanted to just take a minute to dive into this because I know a lot of people out there who are trying to run their own businesses and trying to prosper and be financially successful and well off and make the money, right? Spend a lot of time focused on that. Spend a lot of time figuring out what sales funnel to use, what marketing strategy to use, what credibility or certification I need to teach. And we wrap our head into this sort of spiral or snowball about, well, what can I do in order to create financial success? And I'm going to tell you that in my experience of having been spinning my wheels for so long before I was able to make multiple six figures in my own business, one of the biggest difference I've made in my life was really recognizing that I was not showing up in the world to be significant. I was not showing up in the world to be important, to make a certain amount of money and suddenly feel successful. That was not my purpose in life. And if you're out there hoping that that will be your purpose and that's the financial drive for you, that like one day I'll be successful enough to feel important or validated or recognized or good enough, right? You're showing up with this sense of emotional lack, and that sense of emotional lack is going to stop you from making the difference in the world. Here's what I've realized in the process of stepping into my spirituality, in the process of opening up, is that when you can show up from a place of service, when you can show up authentically from a place of service and recognize that you are here in this world to make a difference, to change somebody's flippin' life, when you can align with that, everything changes. Everything in your life changes because you're going to show up in your business where it's not about you. And you'll get on a strategy call, and if somebody doesn't sign up with you, you're not going to feel rejected. You're going to feel as if you at least made some sort of difference in that person's life. I had a bunch of calls this past week for the one-year program that I'm launching, Badass Business Academy. The sign up is now in session, right? Like people are coming in really quick. And I'm jumping on these discovery calls to enroll people in my one-year program. And not everybody's going to enroll with me. But every time I get on that call, I remember in the back of my head, I am here to make a difference in that person's life. I am here to teach that person something about themselves, to ignite some sort of passion or change or hope within their life. And when I show up from that space, it's not about me. My business is never about me. My business is about the people who I help. And that changes everything. Spirituality has been the biggest game changer in my business because it's allowed me to show up from safe space. It's allowed me to surrender the fear and say to myself, okay, I'm not showing up for myself. I'm not showing up to make a difference in my own life. I'm showing up because I want to help somebody. I want to change the world. Right? Like that Mother Teresa vibe for a minute. Can we just like align with that? Just try to align with it for like, if you can grasp 20% of her energy and just say to yourself, okay, like this is not about money. This is not about recognition. This is not about feeling important. This is about change and inspiration and making a difference in the world. 20% of what that woman had will change your life. And what I've realized is actually money, right? Money, success. I've grown my following. I've created a very prosperous business in a very short amount of time. And the biggest game changer for me was realizing that money is a byproduct of showing up in the world to serve. Money is a byproduct. And if you show up in the world to serve with your God-given talents, right? Like not the talents that you learned in school, not the talents that you had to go through a certification course to gain. Like your God-given natural born talent, guys. Like your passions, your zest, your purpose, your inner soul, right? Like when you show up to give that to the world, you never have to worry about money a day in your life. And here's what the funny thing is. When you show up from that, hey Riley, when you show up from that perspective of like, no, I'm here to help people. Like I'm here to change people's lives. I'm not here to make a boatload of money and sit on a yacht and like feel good, right? Like when you show up in that space and you do it authentically, you're gonna have a boat and sit on a yacht and make a boatload of money and feel good. Like, it's just a byproduct of what happens when you actually value yourself enough to actually serve the world and surrender your fear of not being good enough. So many people show up in the coaching space or the network marketing space and they think to themselves, okay, when I make X amount of dollars, then I'll finally feel significant, or I'll finally feel important, or I'll finally feel loved, or I'll finally feel safe, right? Like, financial certainty. This is like a paranoia that so many people have out there. In reality, if you just like put that shit on the back burner for a minute and just fucking show up to change lives, you're gonna be fine. And that's when I felt so divinely connected to my source. It was when I could go out and actually do things like invest in myself and feel like I was going to be taken care of and provided for, because I was investing in myself for a not selfish reason, right? I was investing in myself so I could be a better vessel for the people out there who needed me, so I could show people what was possible. So now every time I go to spend money on myself, I have a very different energetic alignment. It's actually about, okay, like, I just spent $10,000 to enroll in like 4 different programs over the next year, right? Between going to Tony Robbins, going to Bob Proctor, Kyle Cease, and something else. And like, you know, that was a lot of money. That was a lot of money. But I said to myself, you know what? I'm spending this money and it's going to make me a better coach. It's going to make me more of a powerhouse for the people who invest in me, for the people who rely on me to help them change their lives. And I'm becoming this sort of hybrid, right, of like what I want to be. And I think we all need to approach it from this space of, it's not selfish, money is not scarce, you don't have to be afraid, and you will be provided for when you show up to take care of other people, when you show up for service. End of rant. That's my thought today. I'm going to go into this appointment. Yeah, if you guys haven't heard of cranial sacral therapy, it's really interesting. So it's kind of like pranic healing or Reiki healing, but it's with touch. So it's that energy of the hand releasing out into your body. And this woman, Anne, is absolutely incredible. So if you're ever in Mansfield, Connecticut, this is like an hour and a half from my house, but I have the time and I drive here. And it's beautiful. I do this every other week. Have a spiritual practice, guys. Really important. So I'm going to tap into that, and I'll think of you guys, and I love you so much. And I'll talk to you soon.